to our panel, as mentioned, on Restless Natives. Just to reintroduce everyone, we have Aine Watkins to my far right, Managing Director of Guardian Labs. Then we have Sriram, Krishnan, Mobile Monetization at Facebook. And to my immediate right, we have Liron, Shapira, co-founder of Quixi. So we have an incredible panel for the next 20, 25 minutes. Hopefully kind of getting to grips with some of the challenges, the metrics for success, but then looking at really how each of these guys are being incredibly creative, innovative in their respective fields. So I thought maybe a good place to start would be to put these guys under a little bit of pressure, almost to do their elevator pitch, who they are, what they're about, and see if we can keep them to 60 seconds each so we get to grips of what they're here really to talk about today. So maybe, Aine, we'll start there with you.
Yeah, I'm happy to start. So I'm Managing Director of Guardian Labs, and Guardian Labs is the in-house branded content division within The Guardian. So we describe our purpose as creating unstoppable stories for brands, and that's built really on the trinity of world-class content, innovation in technology, and world-beating use of data.
Very well done. I'd say that was, 30, 40 seconds you've been practicing.
Wow.
Sriram, go for it.
That's a hard act to follow. This feels like one of the US presidential debates. I'm Sriram. I'm a product manager at Facebook. I head up product on the Audience Network, which is our mobile ad networks. We try and do two things. We try and help publishers make, hopefully, a lot of money by running great organic Facebook ads inside their apps. And we help advertisers try and reach the audiences for the products and services that they want to sell more and more on native.
Okay, very good. Impressed.
Vote for me.
I'm Liron Shapira, co-founder and chief science officer of Quixi. We recently launched an ad product called Deep View Cards. It's a new type of ad product. It's very focused on apps and actions. And the idea is that the ad should be basically a little piece of the app that you can engage with on that third party.
Okay, great. Your respective organizations will be very proud that you can actually articulate that in 30 seconds each. I'm impressed. When I tried to do this for Storyful, I'm not known for my brevity. I can go on for 10 minutes in situations like this. Well done. And I guess maybe a place to start, obviously people here will know The Guardian as being this incredible paper of record that does forensic, investigative journalism, quality journalism and content. What you're doing, I guess, and please tell us, is trying to figure out the role, a little bit of church and state within The Guardian. Do you have to build walls, boundaries? How do you build that trust internally and then externally with your audience?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question, one that we've had a lot of debate over internally. Now, for us at The Guardian, there's a very clear line between church and state. So we have two types of branded content. One is sponsored. In other words, if a brand partners with us to fund independent editorial. So a great example of this was Unilever funding, being our partner for creating the Live Better Challenge, an independently produced news section about sustainability. So that's one side. If we produce commercial content, in other words, where we mention the brand, we may tell the brand story, that is wholly and solely produced by the team within Guardian Labs. So for us, it's absolutely critical. Transparent labeling, very clear division between editorially independent and commercial content, and we're constantly reviewing and researching to ensure that our readers are absolutely clear on that division.
And Aine, what does success then look like? You know, we all talk here, I guess, about golden metrics, and increasingly there's no such thing as, I guess, one key metric. It's not about clicks, it's not even about stickiness. So how do you measure success for people coming to the Guardian Labs?
For us, I mean, it really does depend on the marketing objectives of the brand. So the KPIs will shift depending on what the objectives are of that brief. I mean, again, it's probably worth mentioning Unilever because it was a year-long partnership. And interestingly, we were pulling in metrics, as well as, if you like, the fairly blunt digital metrics, you know, uniques, click-through rates, dwell time. But critically, we were looking at the qualitative measures, and we were looking at research done via Millward Brown to look at shifts in perception, consideration, perceptions of Unilever as a kite mark of sustainability and of trust. So for us, that's where it's shifting, because the role of branded content is really can play a part all the way through the funnel, with the ultimate objective as we then convert, if you like, the predisposition or the consideration of a brand, we can then push them into actual purchase consideration. So for us, there's no one silver bullet.
So, Sriram, what does success look like for Facebook? You've worked with, Target, Coca-Cola, the app Audible, and others to help them target audiences in meaningful ways using Facebook data. So, increasingly Facebook are doing very innovative things. We'll come back to things like instant articles with Anna shortly. But what does success look like for brands on Facebook now?
Yeah, so Facebook has been this fascinating journey for the last couple of years. 2.5 years ago, we had no ads on mobile, and I think as of last quarter, we make over 2/3 of our revenue from mobile. And a lot of the journey has been about how do you show these really rich, gorgeous ads which are highly relevant to the people who see them. So I think our aspirational goal is how do we make ads really compelling, really beautiful, really relevant, that they are as useful and as interesting to you as organic content. That's like the really aspirational goal I think a lot of us are after. In terms of like advertisers, at the end of the day, advertisers want to spend money to meet their business objectives and to reach their customers, either existing customers or new customers. So for us, it's about how do you reach them and how do you basically go after those objectives, be it, hey, I want to get an install for my app and to that specific person, or for example, somebody like Target is like, how do I get that right audience to go and install my Target Cartwheel app, which is what they did. So the right audience, the right people, wherever they may be on mobile, that's what we are really focusing on.
And so picking up that issue of mobile, Liron, this is obviously what keeps you awake at night, is that experience on apps and mobile, making sure that it's a very seamless experience. So talk a little bit about what you've been building with your company, Quixie.
Sure. So Deep View Cards, it's definitely related to what we're talking about, which is, how do you distinguish who's producing the content and how do you get people to install apps? Deep View Cards kind of sits between those things where when it comes to content ownership, we're very clear about, we literally put it in a rectangle about where the content's coming from. So we won't just tell you like, hey, come buy this ticket. We'll tell you, hey, SeatGeek would like you to come buy this ticket on SeatGeek. And then related to the app installation part of things, we won't just tell you, hey, you should download SeatGeek because SeatGeek is good. We'll tell you, you want to get this specific ticket, and you would love to be in this specific part of SeatGeek, so click here and we'll take you through that whole download and install in OpenFlow. That's how that works.
Okay, and so going back to you, Anna, with Guardian, you've talked a lot, and I've seen you use this quote, the social revolution is a trust revolution. You talked a little bit about labeling there. How have audiences ultimately responded? Like, particularly, I guess, I'm really interested to see your thoughts on what the Guardian is doing with Facebook, for one, in terms of instant articles. What's that, call it experiment or a test, what has that been like so far? And what are your thoughts, again, on just that labeling, how you have to think differently about what you do on Facebook versus the website?
For us, whatever platform our branded content is published on, the labels will still remain the same. Because ultimately, for us, we've done user testing, which ensures that our audience understand what the difference is between, let's say, sponsored content, whether it's an advertisement, all of the different types of really commercial content we have. I mean, it's interesting, we're just going through more research at the moment to understand whether we need to refine some of the labels, as we're now, a lot of our branded content is viewed by a truly global audience. So it's interesting, we may change some of the labels to ensure that it's crystal clear. So for us, as we move on to Facebook Instant Articles, and as yet, we're to publish our first bit of branded content within that, but if there are any brands in the audience, we'll be delighted to partner together. But again, we will probably, no doubt, keep the same labeling, because a Guardian audience is a Guardian audience, whether it's within Facebook or whether it's on our own platforms.
And in terms of Facebook, the platform, what are the advantages, though, to potentially going to it as a platform-first experience? And maybe using instant articles, maybe some of your learnings to date. What are the key advantages with something like Facebook?
I mean, the key advantages to The Guardian is ensuring that we're following our audience wherever they are. So critically for us, we are in partnership with a number of the big players within Silicon Valley. So Facebook, we're also part of the Google News Initiative within Europe. We were one of the first global publishers to partner and develop our own Guardian Apple Watch app. And we're also in partnership with AOL On. So for us, it's absolutely fundamentally, it's part of our strategy is to partner with the relevant tech platforms to ensure that we're reaching our audience. So for us then from a branded content space, again, it's just providing brands with an opportunity to connect and engage with the Guardian audience, both on and off our platforms.
And one of the key things, I guess, is the data you're getting through Facebook. And on that, Sriram, like Facebook has done a lot of experimentation around native advertising. I guess, your competitors would argue you have an unfair advantage. Others would say celebrate the advantage you have. But just how important is that audience, is that data you collect all the time to actually work in meaningful ways with publishers, advertisers?
Oh, it's hugely important. Like everything I think we do is about making three audiences really happy. How do we make our advertisers reach their business objectives? How do we help publishers build and grow their businesses increasingly on mobile? And how do we, for any one of us who are using Facebook as a consumer every day, how do we have a delightful experience? And I think the heart of that is two things. One is just great native ad experiences. I think we had David Jakubowski talk a little bit earlier about like those horrible banner ads that we all grew up with in the early days of the internet. Do you remember punching the monkey? I don't know what people had against monkeys then. And we have moved on, and I think we have found that these native experiences, which really fit within the app, deliver great value. They deliver great business results for advertisers. They help publishers monetize better. And at the end of the day, as someone who's using this app, it's a great experience. It looks and feels like anything else in the app you're doing, just like ads on a mobile. The next part of it is data. We really want these ads to be relevant to you. I'm a big comic book fan, and a sci-fi fan. Guess what? There is a small little known movie called Star Wars coming out. I don't know if anybody's heard of it. And Facebook can get those advertisers say, hey, Sriram is kind of a nerd and likes Star Wars, and if you want to sell him tickets, you can reach him on Facebook. And that, when I see that ad, it's a great experience for me, just like the Target experience was for Target customers. And that, we think, is the heart of advertising, something that makes you go, wow, that is useful. I'm going to go and buy popcorn and line up on day one.
Okay, great. And for you, Liron, in terms of when you look at the platforms, the amount of content there, the opportunities, what is your strategy? You must be thinking about new and different ways for deep view cards to penetrate the platform. So what's the strategy? What's the thinking for 2016?
Sure. So we deal with a lot of the same problems that Sriram mentioned, which is, we want the app to be able to look like it's the same way that it does in the app, except it's on the third party. The biggest difference is probably that we've expanded. We don't really focus on the content that we want to look native, but we focus on the functionality. So if Teespring is selling a T-shirt, we can put that inside a deep view card. That's not really an article. That's not really content. That's kind of a little slice of Teespring's functionality. Or similarly to a sports ticket, if it's dynamically, the last ticket that you can buy, and we want to show you that, pulled from SeatGeek. Again, it's not native in the content sense, but it's native in the sense of, true to the app.
And Shapira mentioned it there, Anna, the issue of ad blocking, and we had a panel here just an hour ago, how this could be something that sounds the death knell for advertisers. If we don't get the user experience right, we can create all this great content, but if people are going to turn on an ad block, we have a problem. What's your stance on that? We had Harry here earlier, basically made a pitch to the audience that this is effectively stealing. If we are turning on ad blockers, we are doing people out of their revenue lines. They have created something of worth. There is an intellectual property to it. So turning on an ad blocker for all of us to do it, it is the equivalent of stealing. What do you think? Would you buy into that theory? And how do we encourage audiences to actually turn it off and in return we're giving them beautiful content to consume?
I mean, I think, at The Guardian, it's early days for us, and we're obviously looking with interest at certain publishers that have actually restricted their content if people install ad blockers. I don't think at The Guardian that we would go that far, but the onus is on us to ensure that we're providing a really quality and a seamless experience. I think we also need to be very clear to our readers in a truly Guardian, humble way that actually we rely on the advertiser's revenue to ensure the journalism is free, and therefore the Guardian isn't behind a paywall. So I think it's early days for us, but we know we're working very closely with the IAB, sort of various industry bodies to ensure, as we said, premium experience and ensuring we're being clear why we need the revenues.
What are your thoughts on that, Sriram? We've seen like an acceleration of the amount of ad blocking devices being used. We've seen Apple and others come out with their own policies on this. What do you believe in terms of the Facebook experience? Do we block the ad blockers?
Well, I think for us, our focus has always been on like, how do we show great ads which people just really like? And I think a lot of this debate is about, hey, I don't like those kinds of ads, or these experiences are intrusive. And I think on the flip side of that, if you can figure out how do you show an ad which is useful and interesting and organic, that sidesteps a lot of these discussions. So for us, all of our ad experiences are native. They are inside apps, which is typically not what ad blockers play in. But separate from that, we try really hard to make these ads relevant to you using like some of the data that you spoke about and based on experiences. So like we believe that for the people who use Facebook every day or our partner apps, for example, Shazam, a music recognition, the music tagging app has the audience network inside, and it's part of the discovery experience of Shazam itself. And it's native, it's not annoying, it's not intrusive, it's kind of like a nice little value add, it's kind of delightful. And I think that is kind of the answer, which is, hey, how do you get these ads to people in a way that just delights them, and it feels really relevant and useful for them as opposed to annoy them.
And Liron, do you buy into the thesis that the scraping for dimes has cost us millions of dollars, that users have turned off, it's almost too late to engage, or do you think, no, if we get the quality of content, the advertising, native adverts right, that they can be brought in? What are your thoughts on it?
Well, I think you have to take the big picture view. So sure, maybe companies have lost a few $1 million when they turned on ad blockers, but I think I'm on the same page as Sriram and Aine, which is long term, you just have to create a quality experience for the users. And occasionally you can get by tricking them into looking at an ad, but I know that for QuickSee Deep View cards, we definitely believe that it has to be a win-win. And we don't think it's even that hard because the web of apps, is currently leaving a lot of value on the table. There's often actions that you want to do that it's actually useful to you to bring up the opportunity and the knowledge that you can do them. So we don't think anybody has to be the loser here.
Okay. Changing tack slightly, Anna, obviously Guardian is renowned for kind of long form, really nice text experiences. What about the role of video? Is that something increasingly you're getting to grips with? Like you do very much the premium professional, but Guardian has Guardian Witness, which is a fantastic project I'm very familiar with in my own role in Storyful, which is using user-generated content, eyewitness material, and starting to turn that content from platforms like Facebook and YouTube and Twitter, etc., turning that content into stories. So what's the strategy for the Guardian when it comes to video as part of this storytelling?
Yeah. So when it comes to the Guardian and Guardian Labs specifically for branded content, our absolute focus now is mobile. And by that we mean mobile and video. So we're seeing with the Guardian as a whole that roughly, I think it's just over 50% of the Guardian's audience is now coming via mobile. And by mobile I mean, smartphones and tablet. So that is absolutely extraordinary. It just shows that it isn't about just slightly shifting the dial towards mobile and video output. We need to dramatically shift the dial. So it's interesting. We look at just some of the highlights of the brand, the branded content partnerships we've developed over the last year. They very much are mobile and video first. So for Beagle Street, a life insurance provider, we launched an app to make the nation happier as a whole, a very lofty ambition. For Silent Circle, for those of you, I don't think there are probably going to be many users in the audience. It's a encrypted mobile phone, tends to be very popular in sort of dictatorships and amongst various journalists, but it's now launching to a consumer audience. But for them, it's really interesting. We've launched a series of really 4 documentary films, and it very much is video first. And last but not least, I think another great example of how we're dramatically shifting our output is for Direct Line. We developed a whole partnership called Fixology. Essentially, it's about ingenious household tips. And even though we did create some long-form editorial, we developed a whole strand of content which was specifically designed for social and mobile optimization. So in other words, 6-second clips with little tips, sort of bizarre ones about how to get rid of spiders, amazingly popular. And they were also designed to work without sound. So that's probably just 3 examples that gives you a sense how we're dramatically shifting our output in tune with our audience, and in other words, the shift to mobile and video consumption.
And I guess the same question for you, Sriram. Like video, it would seem to me anyway, there is just an explosion in the amount of content being uploaded now to Facebook, native to Facebook, whether it's the typical cute babies, cats, etc., but just great quality content then from premium publishers.
Everyone loves cute babies.
But talk to me a little bit about how Facebook is starting to really think about, look, everybody knows Facebook as a destination. It's also a source for this great native content. How you can go about showcasing video in a better way, the monetization of video. There's obviously been a lot of discussion this year. Can you maybe let us in any insights in terms of the strategy for Facebook when it comes to video?
Oh, totally. And video is a big deal, apparently. Look, Facebook's mission, is how to make the world more open and connected. And it turns out that video on mobile is one of the key ways in which people want to express themselves and share stuff. Anyone remember the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge from a few months ago? And we on Facebook, setting aside monetization, we really tried to capture the right experience for that. And we believe like autoplay video on Facebook has been phenomenal in terms of both a consumer experience for normal people as well as for like publishers in terms of just getting a great engaging experience on your mobile feed. And we've tried to bring that experience to advertisers and help them with monetization. So for example, on the Audience Network, we just brought every publisher the ability to have their own autoplay video. So for example, if you open up Shazam or if you open up Tango, which is a messaging app, you will get autoplay video from Facebook advertisers, and it's working great because it's an engaging experience, it's targeted, it's like the right relevant ad for you, and just video on mobile is just like so good and so visual, it just really works. So we're big believers, and I think we've been trying to bring more of that goodness and the lessons that we have learned on Facebook to all of our publishers and partners.
Great. So wrapping things up a little bit, I have a question for each of you, starting with you, Liron. If this year was the year people start to understand the difference between sponsored advertising, native advertising, we started to confront the debate around ad blocking and really the duty of care we have back to the audience to give them quality content. What is 2016 going to be about? Like for you, obviously this year it's been about getting that seamless experience to apps, to mobile. What does 2016 look like for you? But for the industry at large, what are the things that we have to really grapple with and confront?
Sure. So video is very important because it lets users and publishers be more expressive and more engaging. But if you look at 2016, if you extrapolate that trend, ultimately the ways to be engaging come down to everything you can build with software, right? Interactive software, pushing content, talking to the third-party server instead of just pulling their video. So we think 2016 is the year that advertising really gets functional and people's software starts getting fully integrated at the advertising level instead of just being restricted to content.
Anna, same to you. What a little bit of crystal ball gazing for 2016?
Well, I think as I've talked about mobile and video, I think our real focus for next year is going to be data. So literally just 2 weeks ago, we launched Audience Explorer, which is our live data tool, which will in effect allow brands to delve into the insights in terms of what content our audience or their audience is consuming live. We can then plan and optimize campaigns live in response to surging content. And then we can also demonstrate the effective ROI of every single campaign. So I would say mobile and video, we're well on the way, but for us next year, it's going to be data.
Okay. Sriram?
I think we have the 2 taglines or terms we're really interested in for 2016. The first is people-based marketing, the idea that if you're an advertiser, you care about reaching the right person, be they on their phone, on their desktop, on a tablet, it doesn't matter. You just want to reach, Anna, you just want to reach like the right person, wherever they may be. And the second is native is king. We think native experiences which are seamless, fun, delightful are the future. And we are investing deeply in that with the Audience Network and elsewhere. So 2016, 2017, and beyond, it's native is king.
Okay, great. We'll leave you with the final word, Sriram. Please, ladies and gentlemen, give a large round of applause for Aine Watkins, Managing Director of Guardian Labs, Sriram Krishnan, Mobile Monetization of Facebook, and Liron Shapira, Co-founder of Quixie. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.